years ago, all they did was have that. They weren't consistently getting guys on base. They were just counting a lot on home runs. But they set a stat, and I think it was just for the postseason though, and it was like almost 80% of teams that out home run in the postseason end up going at least to the World Series.
Programming update, by the way. We are having some difficulty right now with our YouTube live stream on the MyBookie Digital Studio. We are live on X or Facebook if you're looking to watch the program. We will keep you updated, working on troubleshooting that as we speak.
Thank you so much. All right, Mia, yesterday was mandatory minicamp day 1. Did you learn anything that you didn't know before, maybe about Mac Jones?
I learned that I can run a 40 faster than I thought, Lauren, because they ended practice early.
They made you guys run a 40.
Yeah, exactly. They ended practice early and made the media run 40-yard dashes. Just as the 1010XL YouTube studio goes right back up, the MyBookie Digital Studio, yes, you can hear me talk about the 40-yard dash I had to run. I'm just kidding. No, I had to run a 40-yard dash because, as you know, I stayed a little late yesterday so we could discuss the ongoing discourse surrounding Caitlin Clark. And practice was supposed to go till 1:15. I roll in at 1:01, and I get a text saying, practice ended, they're looking for you to do interviews. And so I had to sprint from the parking lot of the Miller Electric Center to the indoor facility, and
That's more than a 40.
I had 2 cameras, and it was a light, brisk jog, so a little bit more than a 40. I had to sprint the last 40, backpack as well. I'm not looking for flowers, folks. I'm just saying I was very proud of myself. I didn't get, winded or anything. Although, when I did go to set up the camera for Joe Cowart, Jarian Jones comes over to me, and he goes, ma'am, it's okay. Take your time. Get your breath. You're good. New favorite player, because Jarian was like, it's okay. You're good. And I
was like, this girl's struggling.
Right. As Joe's, arguing with me about the camera, he's like, you're good. Take a second. You're good. I'm like, oh, God, bless this little angel. Which I've heard from multiple staffers, by the way. Just some of the quotes he rolls out with. If you go to the Jaguars official social, they did, their Monday motivation video yesterday. Apparently, he'll just, pop by PR or staff meetings, and he'll just, drop these inspirational quotes. And you're like, how are you, 22, 23 years old? Where does this come from?
I will say he sounded very intelligent and mature in the interview with Joe. I watched it yesterday after it was posted on the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel, and I was blown away. And we're going to let you hear from him a little bit later. I want to relate more to the FSU side of things from last season with Jarian. But, yeah, the full interview is available now. But, yeah, he seems like he's wise beyond his years.
Yeah, wise beyond his years, and obviously the reports and the returns from camp the last few days, and again, I know it's the off-season program, the last few weeks, I should say, have been positive. Across the board, everyone I've spoken with, they love how much he loves practice. And when we speak of the onboarding process, when we speak of the need for rookies to contribute, maybe not to be a Pro Bowler year 1, although that would be a great situation, but to be a reliable, if not starter, depth piece, I think you're going to have that in Jarian Jones. And what I'm most curious, and again, we'll get into this discussion when we talk Knowles in the 1 o'clock hour, what I'm most curious from him, we've seen during the limited media availability, as well as from people I've spoken with, we've seen him play at the outside cornerback position during his first few weeks here in Jacksonville. Granted, Brian Nielsen is rotating guys all over the field. So, he's trying out different guys at nickel, different guys at safety. He has said there's no depth chart. Chris Richard echoed that. They're trying everybody everywhere. But I am genuinely curious, especially hearing from some high-up folks that they have the confidence that the former Florida State product, who made his living last year in the slot, can be a starting boundary cornerback. I am genuinely curious if that is where he starts day 1 of training camp versus day 1 of the actual 2024 season, because, and to pair this with the Knowles to kind of tease what's ahead here on Helmets and Heels, did he struggle at times his first few years in Tallahassee on the boundary because of the team around him? And last year, because he's a physical defender, you put him in the slot at the nickel cornerback position because you say, hey, he fills that void, and he's a field general. He's going to get guys in the right position. And in turn, can you argue that could he have played outside if they asked him to, because the team around him was so much better than the Florida State team of 2021?
Well, and I also think if you look at Renardo Green and Fentrell Cypress, the corner who transferred from Virginia, those guys probably just were better fits for the FSU defense as the outside guys, and Jarian can play both. So they said, all right, we're going to trust you to play nickel. And a lot of times, as we know in college, sometimes the best receiver, whether it's Ricky Pearsall or another guy, might be the slot receiver. Yeah, it's just a lot different. It just depends on what you have on your team at that moment. And so that's, to me, why he played inside last season. And certainly Rick Ballou could shed more light on that than any of us. But that would be my guess. But I do think it's very exciting to have the competition at that position, whether it's Ronald Darby, two Knowles, really. Ronald Darby versus Jarian Jones. Or if you bring in Trey Prince from Ole Miss, is he going to potentially push for that starting job opposite Tyson Campbell? The biggest question that none of us have asked, now that I think about it, does Tyson Campbell get pushed? Is there so much going on at the starting outside corner positions that all of a sudden it's not just absolutely Tyson's job? I think it is, but is there a little bit of pushing Tyson?
Well, I can tell you this. The plan is, at least of this juncture, is that Tyson will be around Jacksonville for a very long time. So read between the lines as you would like with what I just said, especially as, yes, we see those of you on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures sending us the Pretty Ricky note about Shad Khan getting ready to spend some money on the Jaguars. Of course, we are referring to what many believe to be a Athletes First staffer with the burner account at Pretty Ricky213, who is tweeting again and is tweeting that the Jags could be handing out some money soon. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, right? That's the first, but
is that Tyson?
Pretty Ricky has been deceptive before. Pretty Ricky has played us before, although he's been pretty accurate. He's missed on a couple too, self-admitted. But no, I do, as we try to focus in on this conversation of the outside corner, the Pretty Ricky report aside, I do know that they are working towards retaining their draft picks. We have the first draft class of Trent Baalke as the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars entering a contract year. And so, hey, if they push Tyson, great. Yeah. Competition breeds success, and Ryan Nielsen is at the forefront of that. But I think it's very much a question of this team signed Ronald Darby because they believe when healthy he's a starter. And I think a lot of the folks up in Baltimore who had him on the Ravens roster last year would tell you the same thing. However, if a Jarian Jones or a Trey Prince is to push him, they're not upset by that, because also, even if Ronald Darby is your day one starter opposite Tyson Campbell, we saw last year when Tyson Campbell went down, a lot of people in this town were looking around like, oh no, Buster Brown, like, is he ready? Like what? Looks great. Thursday Night Football, stepped up, won you a football game. And so that's where, even if it is Tyson, Darby, and maybe Jarian's your nickel corner, or if it's a Christian Braswell who's been here a little bit longer, or if it's Darnell Savage in certain looks, I wouldn't be discouraged by those two young draft picks from this past season, because, again, it's all about the onboarding. It's about developing them, and we've heard that 6,000 times so far this spring. But I have been impressed, and I know people in the building have been impressed by those two gentlemen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a work in progress on the other side. I think that Tyson's a shoo-in. I don't think there's any question that Tyson Campbell is not. He's not only, when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the league, not even just on the football team. So to me, that's just set, and figuring out that other side, I think, is going to be a little bit of a process, because there are these guys there's guys that can play that outside corner spot, but there's no guy that's been his spot. So it's going to be them figuring out who's the strongest there, and I think we will see a lot of movement on that, on opposite of Tyson Campbell for a while, until they really start to kind of dig in and really earn their spot opposite him.
Mia, who has more confidence, Jarian Jones or Cam Little, the kicker?
Man, oh man, that's a great question. Look, they've got a draft class full of confidence outside of a very confident player. But Press Taylor admitted this morning they just have to keep bugging Brian Thomas Jr. to get him to talk. They know he's processing the information and he participates in meetings, but they're trying to get him to talk on the field, just like, hey, let's talk, and he's just a quiet guy.
They need more talking from Brian Thomas Jr., less talking from Mac Jones.
Less talking from Mac Jones, less talking from Cam Little, less talking from Jarian Jones. I'm just kidding. They love the fact that they have, in one draft class, across the board hard workers. And I heard this from someone last week. Like, they have hard workers across the board, but they've got Jarian Jones at one end of the spectrum, who is as outgoing and just engaging as he could possibly be, and he's loud, and he's here, and he wants you to know that, and he's here, you know. And then you have Brian Thomas Jr., who quietly goes about his work. Great player, both in their own rights. But one is very much like, I'm going to do my work. I'm going to participate when I have to. I'm going to absorb. And the other one is like, let's get after it.
Yeah.
And you could say the same, yes, for the Jaguars rookie kicker.
Well, it is a little different in that in the wide receiving core, there are guys that have had a lot of experience.
Mhm.
Even though Gabe Davis is only 25, as was noted in the interview that Hayes Carlin did with him, he's got a lot of experience. Christian Kirk obviously has a lot of experience. In the cornerback room, Tyson's kind of the vet. So I think it's a little different as you enter it as to how much confidence and not necessarily cockiness, but just how much of that infectious personality you can infuse. I'm sure Brian Thomas is like, I just want to sit back and learn. All right, so Mia, you did catch up with Cam Little yesterday. Let's hear that interview right here. Here is Mia with the kicker, Cam Little, and he's funny.
Pleased to be joined with Jaguars rookie kicker Cam Little, the man who so proudly on a Zoom told us he smashed his workouts, just 20 years old, perhaps the most interesting man new to Duval. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Enjoyed the welcoming from the Jacksonville community. Obviously, got out to the beach a couple times, and obviously, we just got done with OTAs and we're into minicamp now, so it's gone by so fast, but I'm enjoying it.
Most important question I'm going to ask you.
What's up?
Have you golfed yet?
Oh, I did. This past weekend, I finally got my clubs in town. I played the yards right by CPC Sawgrass, and it was really well maintenance and stuff like that. So I haven't got out and played 18 yet, but I played 12 out there, and it was a fun time. I played with Mason Smith, D lineman. So he's actually pretty good at golf. He can swing the sticks really well. So I shot 40, so I was 5 over. I think Mason shot like 7 over. So we had a good little outing at it.
Okay, not too shabby, not too shabby. You got the clubs shipped in?
Yes. Finally got them down here. It was really hot, but I enjoyed it. Got some good sun.
Love it, absolutely. I'm going to have you take one step closer to me, Cam. There you go, perfect. Let's talk about on the field.
Yeah.
Expectations for you from Heath, from Doug when you arrived versus where you are now.
Yeah. Obviously I think they wanted me, most importantly, to come in and get comfortable. I think any of the rookies kind of when they come in, it's expected to kind of, okay, we're just going to be like this break-in period. It's a little different than college football. So I think that was their main goal was, hey, we want you to get comfortable with the operation, get comfortable on what it's like to be in obviously a National Football League environment rather than an NCAA environment. And so I think I did a pretty good job, obviously coming in and getting comfortable. Big thanks to like Riley and Logan and Ross, obviously kind of taking me under their wing and introducing me to what it's like to be in obviously an NFL environment versus NCAA, like I mentioned. But I think that was kind of the main goal, and I think I did a pretty good job of it.
Now, you knew Riley ahead of time?
Yeah, so I had actually kickers, it's kind of a small world. You guys probably know that. So I had known Riley a little bit through camps that we kind of trained at, and I watched him at Memphis when he was there coming out of college and, looked up to him. So, yeah, I've known Riley a little bit. Great guy.
Okay, Cole's kicking camp.
Yeah,
is that?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy on and off the field. I like how he leads in his face, so look up to him for sure.
And Logan and Ross. We joke.
What a duo, man. No, but both those guys are so good at what they do. I don't think people know actually how good at their jobs that they are. So for them to kind of come in and kind of show me the ropes has been amazing.
As far as the on the field goes, what would you say your yardage is right now?
I think I had a 57 or 58 during OTA, so, I mean, that's the deepest we've gone, and I put it through, so I've been happy with that. But I think that's the farthest we had in OTAs, and I felt comfortable back there. So.
And, of course, the other part of your job that's kind of new to everybody in the National Football League, not just you.
Kickoff.
Yeah, so what did you know about the kickoff rule before you went through the draft process?
Yeah, so I've had some buddies in the XFL that have kind of dealt with it, so I kind of – obviously, it's a little different. They've got kind of the 3 seconds where you can't run the ball. So I kind of talked to them and got some info on that a little bit and how certain kicks maybe play out, maybe putting it in certain parts of the field where they can't get it. Kind of just giving my, kickoff coverage team the best chance to get them down inside the 20. And obviously, I think teams will probably utilize the touchback rule, still a little bit. If you're up maybe a couple scores and you don't want to risk maybe getting a return, maybe you put it out the back. But we've kind of experimented with a lot of different things, and so it's kind of all new for the league. But I'm sure by week 4 or 5, people will start seeing, okay, they're kicking certain types of kickoffs. How are we going to cover it? So it'll kind of be like a kind of awkward break-in period, I would imagine.
Why is your game suited for this new kickoff rule?
I think I'm really good at putting the ball. I think my soccer background is really what kind of gives me an edge to maybe some guys. I was always really good at putting the ball around on someone's foot in soccer. I played midfield, so I would spray the ball out wide and stuff like that a lot. So I think just my finesse a little bit on the field gives me kind of an advantage to put the ball in certain parts of the field that maybe some other guys wouldn't. But I think there's going to be a lot of different types of kicks that a lot of different players are going to be utilizing. I know some guys around the league have certain trick kicks that they're really good at. So everyone's going to kind of have an edge to everything.
A lot of soccer fans in Jacksonville, so that'll be music to their ears. Are you an EPL fan?
Oh, yeah. Big Man United fan. Obviously, been a rough couple years for Manchester, so Maybe we can get a manager in there that'll kind of stabilize it a little bit. Sad losing Ronaldo, but had to be done.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool's probably saying the same thing right now about the manager.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, big Man U fan.
Okay, awesome. What has been the most difficult part about the transition?
I think just getting used to living in a new town. Like, I mean, on the field stuff has gone really well. Like, I've enjoyed it, and I like the NFL schedule. I like getting in here in the morning. We work out. It's kind of different. You're treated more as a pro. Like, obviously, it's professional football, so you're treated a little differently in the NFL rather than the NCAA. But I think off the field, just kind of getting used to a new area. Jacksonville's a lot bigger city than Fayetteville was, and so I've kind of had to get used to a lot more different parts of the city and stuff like that. But that hasn't been too difficult. The community's been really welcoming. I've gotten a lot of food recommendations, a lot of like places around here to go. Obviously, the beach. So that's been fun. So it hasn't been too difficult.
Last question.
What's up?
I need you to look into the camera.
Yeah.
The dirt stash.
Oh my gosh,
When did the mustache? I'm going to take a step closer. Make
Yeah.
sure it's front and center.
Right. Get it going there.
When did the mustache
So
show
I
up?
wore it a little bit in season.
Okay.
I've always gotten joked around that, like when I shave, like totally, like I have a really baby face, and I already
You
have
don't
a baby
say.
face. I already have a baby face as it is. So I think the mustache maybe made me look a couple months older. So I kept it, and I obviously kind of wore it during the season a little bit, and kind of just stuck with it. So we might shave again, maybe come out with something different. Maybe something different next
You're
time.
going to come out with like a goatee or something?
So no, but I've enjoyed it. It gives me a little personality.
Awesome. Well, Cam, welcome to Jacksonville. Thanks
Thank
so
you
much for catching up with
appreciate
us.
it. Thank you.
A little personality. I would say quite a bit. And again, that full video, including him showcasing his dirt stash, that is Cam Little, the Jaguars rookie kicker, is available at the 1010XL Jaguars channel. I thought his explanation, though, ladies, in all seriousness, regarding the new kickoff rule was fascinating. And it's actually something that on Move the Sticks with Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks, they discussed this week, is that we've all narrowed in on the changes to the kickoff rule. The fact that you really do need to have two capable returners as opposed to one.
Yeah.
But we've almost all disregarded the fact that, yes, if you kick it out of the end zone, the opposing team starts on the 30-yard line. But if you're up by 2 or 3 scores, are you okay with settling for that and just saying, you know what, we'll take our losses if it means that they start a little bit further upfield? It's whatever, because that's better than risking the potential for a return for a touchdown.
Yeah, I've almost spent too much time on the new kickoff.
You've been in
and
the
what-
weeds.
the last few months. I was talking to Courtney Cronin from ESPN about it, too, of just how the league in general is approaching it and she pretty much said everybody's trying to figure it out together, and it's going to be one of these things where team by team it may look a little different to begin because they're all going to be approaching it a little bit different. Most teams, I think, will have 2 returners, but she said she has talked to some that are not looking for the 2 guys back there, so that'll be interesting. Also, just the approach of, we've already seen the Chiefs talk about it with not having Harrison Butker kick, but having their
having
punter,
Justin Reed.
Yeah.
Having a
And so
position player do it.
other teams are starting to look at this too, so how that shifts everything for special teams and what it will look like. And he said, by week 4 or 5 we'll have a better idea of what it's going to look like and how teams should approach it, what's successful. But it will be, the first few weeks are going to be fun to kind of see how different teams, how it looks for each team.
I'm very surprised now that the Chiefs let that information out. And I'm sure it's calculated on their part, but it just seems like that's something that you wouldn't have answered in that way to reporters, because you want to kind of keep your chips, you know, away, or your cards away from some, like that poker term.
I would argue, and this is from a local high school coach here, Corky Rogers, legendary coach at Bulls, used to say, come to my practice. If you are a coach, if you're going to be playing us, if it's the postseason and you've been eliminated and you want to come try to steal stuff from our team, go ahead. Come on in. Come sit down, because we're going to execute it better than you anyways.
That's what
so
I was
it
saying.
doesn't
Andy
matter.
Reid's probably like,
We're going to execute it better than you, so I don't really care
Yeah.
if you have my secrets.
Yeah, cards close to the vest. That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to think of. But yeah, it at least inspires other teams to think about it, and that's why I would have thought that we wouldn't know anything about the Chiefs' plans or any other team's plans when it comes to the new kickoff until we get into the regular season, not even the preseason. So yeah, it will be fun to watch. Google XFL kickoff if you want to at least have an idea, if you're still not quite sure how it all works. All right, you heard me mention with Cam Little that the English Premier League is certainly something that's popular around here. Well, it is coming to Jacksonville next month, and Todd Newton, Wolves senior marketing manager, joins us in studio to break that stateside cup down. That is next on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Hey, what's happening? This is Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins.
Intercepted. Brian Dawkins, the greatest free safety in the game.
You are listening to 1010 XL.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
David Lane here again for Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. After several surgeries for age-old issues, mainly my back and shoulders, there's no doubt that Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is my sustaining resource for living pain-free. Take it from me, and I'm being really honest here, there's no better orthopedic facility here in Jacksonville.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
This Father's Day, make it easy on yourself with great gift ideas from
Beaches Dermatology, Southern Steer Butcher, and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Oh, this is fantastic. Gift ideas for Father's Day are a click away at 1010xl.com.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Take advantage of 0% APR on the versatile lineup of 2024 Mazda crossover SUVs. Lauren Brooks here. Choose from the off-road ready 2024 Mazda CX-50, the stylish 2024 Mazda CX-30, or the tailored for you Mazda CX-5. With 0% APR for 36 months, you'll find your perfect CUV. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires July 1st, 2024.
All right, guys, be a true grill master with the Sausage Dudes sausage and upgrade that cookout. The Sausage Dudes are guys from Jacksonville who use their family recipes to make better sausage with the best cuts of pork, carefully sourced spices, and natural casings. And the Sausage Dudes are mission-minded, supporting the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Try all 4 flavors because your cookout deserves better. Now available at all Publix stores in the frozen meat section. Head to Publix today and get your hands on the Sausage Dudes sausage.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
The Stateside Cup does come to Everbank Stadium Saturday, July 27th, and there's a promotion going on right now, a Father's Day flash sale. You can get a Stateside Cup Family 4-pack and save 25% on the purchase of those 4 tickets if you use the code FDS24. That's FDS24. That offer is good until June 16th. So again, use the code FDS24. We are efforting to get Todd Newton, the Wolves senior marketing manager, but until we get him here in the studio or by phone, we will instead talk about this guy who has probably had the best year of his life in the last year, and that would be Jaguars defensive end Josh Allen. He had told everyone basically he wanted to stay in Jacksonville. He gambled on himself, took that risk. It certainly worked out, Mia. And Josh Allen now has, I think, a ton of new goals in front of him. And that's the thing. It's not like he was working just to get the contract extension and, okay, now I'm just going to rest on my laurels. That's not Josh Allen's personality whatsoever.
No, and I also think he has help. It's that
also
simple.
True.
That's what a lot of this boils down to. If you look at Josh Allen's career since 2019 when he was drafted 7th overall, his rookie season, he had Calais Campbell, he had Yannick Ngakoue. That is a big reason why he was able to come flying out of the gates and have 10.5 sacks. Next season, injured also, which we will get into at the 1 o'clock hour, arguably one of the worst rosters ever constructed here in Jacksonville with the 2020 Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. 2021, I don't think I need to go into the Urban Meyer debacle.
Nope.
However, with that said, at the very least, comparatively, that was a season in which you looked at the roster. You know, they signed Roy Robertson Harris. They were banking on Caleb Von Chason. There was at least a conscious, like, okay, we understand we lost Yannick Ngakoue. We probably need to fill this void that was left by the remaining members of Saxonville. 2022 and 2023 are so fascinating when it comes to Josh Allen because in 22, again, banking on development, banking on Trayvon Walker to come in hot out of the gates and to make an impact for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And obviously that didn't happen because his skill set just wasn't there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, different because he did have that skill set. In turn, that created opportunities for Josh because a lot of the focus of opposing offenses was on Trayvon. Mike Tomlin was very forward and said as much. That opened up things for Josh. At the same time, we spent how many months last year complaining about the fact that they didn't go out and get a third or fourth pass rusher in a 3-4 base defense. They decided that they were going to bank on Caleb Von Chason and his 3 career sacks, DeJuan Smoot coming off of a significant Achilles injury, and in turn, there wasn't that extra help, coupled with Devon Hamilton's spinal abscess. This year, Eric Armstead, not only a guy who's been there before, but a guy who, for the first time since Calais Campbell in 2019, can line up next to Josh and create that interior pressure. A healthy Devon Hamilton, a rotating Roy Robertson Harris, Mason Smith, a pass-rushing interior defensive lineman. For the first time since his rookie year, they went out and they got help for Josh Allen.
Well, and one of the things, we've mentioned it on here, but Doug just spoke on it again yesterday when he was talking about Eric Armstead and what he adds. And we've said it, you know, the veteran side of it and the experience in the playoffs. But one of the things Doug touched on yesterday was in the moments of last year when things started to fall short, Eric Armstead's been through those situations in his career too and been on the other side of being able to get out of it. And unfortunately, the Jags didn't last season. So I think just those little aspects are so important. And I think a big thing last year too, people were just not confident in Trayvon, and that was why they were pushing so hard on another pass rusher. But obviously, you've been able to see the development of Trayvon Walker, which is huge for Josh Allen.
And that's
also
not to say Trayvon wasn't successful last year, but it's to say, again, what were we saying about the home run ball, Taylor, and sustainability?
Yeah.
It is not sustainable for Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker to play
have all of them.
85% of the snaps.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
to have
not.
no pass rush from anywhere else.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the thing. The interior of the pass rush last year was basically non-existent, and it was like that because, like Mia said, Devon Hamilton didn't have the season that we thought. And Roy Robertson Harris really was also asked to do a lot as well. All right, so Josh Allen met with the media yesterday after day 1 of mandatory minicamp and said he has a pretty lofty goal.
I found out what works for me. I'm going to double up, get better from that, and improve mentally, physically, and emotionally, and now I can grow from there. So from right now, man, I'm more mentally strong at this point of the season that, you know, it's just going to keep building from here. I get to be with the guys. I get to tell them how I'm feeling, tell them where I've been, tell them where I'm going, and really encourage that. One of my goals is, you know, I'm going to win Defensive Player of the Year, you know, and for me, I have to be Tier 1. I have to be above Tier 1 because there's guys already solidified themselves that they're looking at. So for me, I have to, okay, this is what y'all want, bet.
So there you have it. Win Defensive Player of the Year. And I think we'd all be fine if that's one goal that is reached here in Jacksonville, because that means that this defense yet again, or not yet again, this defense this time around is really good, like it was 2 seasons ago. All right, well, speaking of football, not football, but football, we have Todd Newton in studio with us now as the Wolves and West Ham meet at Everbank Stadium July 27th in an English Premier League battle. Todd, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. So, yeah, thanks, guys.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so Wolves is a team. Wolverhampton Wanderers is the technical term.
Correct.
But most people
We
call
just
it
say Wolves.
Just Wolves.
Everyone else
Wolves
just
is fine. Yeah, and I think Wolves also translates to the US market and the US audience a little bit better than Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Also true, yes. Do you find that more Americans are following soccer because of Ted Lasso and how there is that connection from football to football?
Do you know what? I do, and I think it's great for the game. I think there's always been kind of soccer around, but I do think the kind of what the success of Ted Lasso, the stuff that obviously Rob and Ryan are doing at Wrexham is kind of really helping the sport across all the leagues. So yeah, no, I think that has definitely contributed towards it.
First time in 40 years
Yes.
that Wolves is coming to the United States. Why Jacksonville?
I think for us, I mean, funnily enough, the last time we were here 40 years ago, we did play in Jacksonville. So it's almost like a casual kind of homecoming. And football has this kind of romance and it's almost poetic at times. And it felt kind of right to come here. And obviously the Everbank Stadium, looks great. I think it will provide a backdrop that we don't usually get when we're playing kind of any kind of stadiums across Europe. It just looks completely different. So yeah, Jacksonville, there was definitely a kind of a bit of history there, but yeah, I think even going forward, it's a great venue to play at.
When you guys played in 1981, apologies if I ask one more, was that on a July 27th scorching hot day? I'm genuinely curious in terms of the transition from, well, certainly it gets a little warm across the pond, and maybe HVAC isn't quite as proliferated as it is here. At the same time, I would think, especially this week, giving you a good sample of what's to come at the end of July.
Yeah, no, I think for some of our kind of domestic players, maybe the British players, it might be a little bit of a shock. But our team is made up of players from Brazil, from Korea, from Portugal that probably are used to playing in these kind of warmer climates. And if anything, it's probably more of a shock when they move to the UK to play their football because we don't have this kind of weather, and if we do, we have it maybe one day a year. Then we just get punished for the rest of the year.
Yeah, not 5 months of it.
No. It's 5 months of rain, and then we get one hot day. So.
Well, Todd, you came a long way to promote this, the stateside soccer, and so how have you seen this reach, and how it's kind of people have reacted here in Jacksonville and the States in general?
Do you know what? Everyone's been like really, really good about it. I mean, I've been wearing a few kind of jerseys or tops that have got the kind of Wolves crest on, and people do go, oh, it's the Wolves. I mean, we was out in Annapolis a few days ago to watch one of their lower league teams play, and we took the mascot with us, and people was like, oh, it's Wolfie, oh, it's a mascot, it's this. So people were kind of already making that connection. I think what helps is we are so different in terms of our kit colour. There's no other team that play in the colours that we do.
Yeah.
So that helps us stand out. Yeah.
Why is that?
So it's kind of there's a quote that's quite synonymous with Wolves, which is "Out of the darkness cometh light," and the kit resembles that. So all the black trimmings and the shorts resembles like the darkness, and the kind of the complete contrast of the old gold is the light. So it's been our kit for. I think when we were first founded, there's about 3 or 4 seasons where it wasn't, and then we very quickly changed it. So for well over 150 years or something. So yeah, it's quite like a tradition behind it.
And by the way, it's not just out on the street. Our YouTube live stream, you're live right now, Todd. If you didn't
cool.
know, we had a couple people just comment, "Let's go Wolves!" So
Good.
the Wolves fans, they're here in Jacksonville.
Hey,
they're watching.
That's amazing. And you know what? On that, so any of the fans that are listening or watching, we want to do stuff with the fans whilst we're here. Like obviously, there's the game of football, but there's the day before or the day of, and post-match. So we're just trying to figure out how much time we're going to be spending in here and when we play Crystal Palace in Annapolis. But we want to engage the community and give fans the opportunity to engage with us as well. So yeah, keep a lookout on kind of all the Wolves channels, that kind of itinerary of what we'll be doing.
Todd Newton, Wolves Senior Marketing Manager, is with us in studio ahead of the Stateside Cup that comes up July 27th. That is a Saturday at Everbank Stadium. All right, so give people, and by the way, kit means uniform for
It
our,
does, sorry, yes,
for our
it
certain
does,
people
yeah,
who
yeah.
have no idea about soccer.
I
And
learned
pitch-
that today. So
Did you?
We need to like a translation so you can see what we're on
Pitch
about.
means grass,
Yeah.
or it could be turf, but either way. So who are some of the names when people go to watch West Ham versus Wolves next month? Who are some of the names from the Wolves that are guys that they're going to, after that game, go, oh, I got to see that guy play?
Yeah, well, there's a few that stand out really that play on the biggest stage, for their international teams.
Right.
So we've got 3 players that will be playing in the Euros for Portugal. So that'll be Nelson Semedo, Jose Sarr, and Pedro Neto. All exciting players in their own right. One's a goalkeeper, one's a right back, and one's a right winger. Hwang Ki-chan, he's huge. He's global. Obviously has a real big following in South Korea as well, but he's a fantastic footballer as well. And we've got a few Brazilian guys who have lots of flair, lots of skills, lots of tricks. So João Gomes is one, and Matthias Cunha is another. That they're the guys that will pick up the ball and run at the opposition and try and score. So yeah, and there's one guy as well that probably will do the rounds on a lot of the time on YouTube is Rayan Ain't Nori. So he's a left back, so typically a defender. But he's probably our most skillful player, so he'll get the ball and he's doing crazy stuff in probably areas that he shouldn't, but he always just keeps the ball. So yeah, he's a great player, so he's one for the YouTube clips for sure.
And we've already name dropped Jason Sudeikis and Ryan Reynolds, but you have Wolves has some famous fans as well. In addition to the players on the pitch, the fans pretty famous as well too.
Yeah, we've got one or two. Probably one of our biggest ones, and for you guys across the pond as well is Robert Plant. So obviously of Led Zeppelin. He's fantastic. He's just bleeds black
How
and
the
gold.
heck did he become a Wolves
Well,
fan?
he's from
Right.
the area, so he's always supported Wolves, but he's like ingrained in the club now. So he's kind of sits on the board as well, and he kind of he contributes massively to what we do for pre-match as well. So we a few of the guys are quite lucky that they spent some time in the studio with Robert Plant a few weeks ago, and we kind of finessed our almost like our walkout music. So it's like a little bit of Whole Lot of Love, and it then. The crescendo goes into Kashmir, and there's like fireworks or flames going off.
That
and,
has to be the best
No, it's cool.
EPL song.
Well, do you know what? When you have like one of the biggest rock and roll stars, and he loves Wolves as much as he loves music, it'd be silly not to have him kind of involved in that.
That's so cool.
Now this series, the stateside series, is kind of leading before you get to the English Premier League start.
Yeah.
So are we expecting to see starters and everything here in Jacksonville too?
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it's a really brilliant time for it to kind of land with you guys. It's off the back of 2 major tournaments, so obviously Copa America and the Euros. So the kind of the domestic and the clubs have less time with their players, so they need to speed this up, and they need game time with the squads that they think would work. So it wouldn't be a case of just rolling out perhaps players that people won't be familiar with. And likewise, we're playing another Premier League club, and ultimately nobody wants to lose that game. Like pride is at stake when you come here. You don't want to be the team that loses. So I feel both Wolves and West Ham will kind of come quite with a good squad. And to add a little bit more spice to it, the new West Ham manager is the Wolves' old manager. And it's his first game in charge of West Ham is against his old club, and this is again this
Fun.
romantic side of football sometimes, and it is quite poetic. And so that would be great. So the guys coming down to the stadium on the 27th will kind of see that first game firsthand.
And West Ham's won the last couple. Is that right?
Yeah, they have. I didn't want to mention that. So,
we were leaving that part.
I didn't think we were talking about previous. We look forward. Yeah, we focus on the
I'm
future.
adding the drama to
Yes,
it.
even
We've already
more
got
so.
the old manager. We just need all the drama. By
No.
the way, there is a Father's Day sale going on right now. Go to statesidecup.com. You can get a family 4-pack for 25% off. Use the code FDS24 that runs through June 16th.
And, of course, this is, again, the Stateside Cup. It comes to Everbank Stadium July 27th, Wolves versus West Ham. We've got some folks wondering, A, Todd, how they can buy tickets, and B, what time is I was going to say kickoff. It's not kickoff.
It is kickoff.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is kickoff.
It is
Okay.
kickoff.
All right. I was like, first pitch, kickoff. We're in baseball mode. We're in baseball mode out here. We're in American football mode.
No, kickoff is absolutely correct. I'm pretty sure it's either 7 or 8 p.m. kickoff. It's definitely on the evening of the Saturday. Hopefully it'll be a little bit cooler. But
a nice warm breeze, maybe.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
It's on the river. It'll have a lovely
good.
breeze.
But we will be kind
it
of
is
in
7
market.
o'clock.
It's 7 o'clock. And we'll be in market before that anyway, trying to do some fan events, whether we're meeting up in downtown or, we're doing a fan event. So keep an eye out for that. And I'd like to say, the tickets are on statesidecup.com.
Because it's one of 3 games as part of the Stateside Cup. So
Yeah.
is it just round robin? Is this part of a playoff, just for those who may be unfamiliar?
Yeah, so there's obviously 3 teams coming over, and we all play each other once. There's a game, obviously, here at the Everbank between us and West Ham. And then West Ham and Palace, they'll play out in Tampa. And then we will play Crystal Palace in Maryland, in Annapolis. So, it's a little bit of travelling around, but it's good to give all fans an opportunity to see.
You were just at Everbank Stadium. Did you meet any of the Jaguars?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, not yet. Though I am going back in a couple of days' time, so hopefully there'll be some of the guys there as well. And if they haven't got a Premier League club yet, maybe they need one.
Well, we
so.
just played my interview from yesterday with the kicker, Cam Little, who did grow up playing soccer.
Yeah.
He is a Man U fan.
There's too many Man United fans around here.
But I'm sure there's a couple on that roster that want to get into soccer.
Yeah.
They want to get into
Or if they
real
need a second
football.
team.
Right,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
fine. We don't mind being the second team. It's all right.
I love it. Again, statesidecup.com. Todd, thank you so much for coming and
Thank you
hanging
for
out with
having
us.
me.
And you brought us some swag?
I have,
Oh, let's
I
go.
have. Yes, there's a case over there, so I'll kit you out in the old gold and black.
That's right, Taylor. He'll kit us out.
Kit it out. I love it.
You learned new phraseology. Todd, thank you. We look
Thank
forward
you,
to
guys.
Stateside Cup
Cheers.
next month.
Thank
Again,
you. Thank you.
statesidecup.com. Wolves, West Ham, Saturday, July 27th, 7 p.m. at Everbank Stadium. We'll be back with more on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Imagine a majestic cut of beef that commands attention the moment it arrives at your table. At Southern Steer, now through Father's Day, get your tomahawk steaks for $24.99 a pound.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Are you looking for that perfect Father's Day gift? Look no further than Shooters this Thursday through Sunday, June 13th through the 16th. Shooters and Smith & Wesson are bringing you the largest Smith & Wesson sale of the year with the largest savings of the year. Click away with a Smith & Wesson M&P 1522, very affordable, just $429. Save $70. The most popular small frame defense revolver on the market, the Airweight 38 Special, for only $469. Save $70. The hottest selling concealed carry pistol, the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus 9mm for only $399. You save $150. Get unmatched value with the new Smith & Wesson SD9 2.0 handgun for a low $279. Save $80. Shooters and Smith & Wesson Father's Day sale, the largest sale of the year, June 13th through the 16th at Shooters, 5085 University Boulevard West. See the full ad at shootersjacks.com. Shootersjacks.com.
Bolt City Heating and Air is here to keep you cool this summer. Anytime, any day, whenever you need fast, reliable air conditioning service. Their friendly technicians have fully stocked work vans, so they can get your AC done on site the same day. Rely on a family-owned Jacksonville-grown company this summer to keep your home cooling system working smarter, not harder. Experience the bold difference. Visit BoldCityAC.com to schedule your service appointment. BoldCityAC.com.
Matt Hayes here for Leonard Truck Outfitters. The Southeast's biggest truck accessory and trailer company is opening their newest location on Beach Boulevard. Truck accessories, trailers, or commercial uplifts, they've got you covered. From Real Truck, UWS, Weather Guard, carry-on trailers, and much more. Join us for our grand opening on June 28th, starting at noon. XL Primetime will be there live from 2 to 4 with special promotions and giveaways, even a free golf cart. That's June 28th. Don't forget about our other location on Blanding Boulevard.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home this week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Indianapolis in town starting tonight. Tomorrow is Buy Star Goodness Everywhere Wednesday featuring Catholic charities and Bring Your Dog courtesy of Forever Vets. Get the weekend started with Coors Light Thirsty Thursday Pride Night, and we'll have fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 11th, Mel Stottlemyre sets an American League record by making his 272 consecutive start without pitching a game in relief.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Mia here, the NBA Finals have arrived, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide. Cash out or let it ride. MyBookie makes it so easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays, and new boosts are posted on the daily. What are we looking at as far as Game 3 of the NBA Finals are concerned? Well, again, if you click on more wagers once you're logged in, you'll be able to see some props you can get involved in. How about a 1.5-point spread, though, favoring the home team Dallas Mavericks? People keep saying the Kyrie game is coming. I don't believe them. Play with house money today and use promo code 1010XL when you make that first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a godly example. Every day, we're setting an example in our words and actions. And many times, we can act one way in one setting and then totally different in another setting. My encouragement for you is to not send out mixed messages. God is depending on you to set the example in people's lives. You don't know, but you may be the only Bible that someone ever sees today.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Your Jaguars game day, your way. Whether you want to see a division rival like the Titans, an NFC North opponent like the Packers, or a mix, deciding on your favorite matchups has never been easier with Bundle at the Bank.
Touchdown, Travis Etienne!
Get tickets to 3 or more games starting at just $58 per game. It's as easy as pick, pay, and play. But seats are selling fast, so visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at bariorthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics and online at bariorthopedics.com.
Find out more at bariorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
June is Men's Health Month, so I just got a total body MRI scan. It was really simple, quite comfortable, and it only took about an hour. Total body MRI scans for abnormalities that may need attention soon. Be proactive with your health this month. Call Ackerman Cancer Center to learn more about total body MRI.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Again, the Stateside Cup comes up Saturday, July 27th at Everbank Stadium. Wolves versus West Ham. If you don't have an English Premier League team that you've been following, hop on the bandwagon of one of those. And again, the Father's Day sale going on right now. Use code FDS24 to get 25% off a 4-pack of tickets. That offer valid through June 16th. All right, so we were all covering this Jacksonville Jaguars team in 2020. In the next segment, we're going to take the 2020 depth chart and compare it to the Jaguars' 2024 depth chart. Have either of you looked at the 2020 depth chart as of like yesterday or today?
So when you sent it to me, I had opened it, so I glanced for a second, but I was like, I'm going to save this for like a live reaction. But I was even, because I saw a couple names and I was like, let me try and remember, like let me go back. And so it'll be interesting. It'll be I'm sure maybe a little hurtful to go through that roster.
Well, part of why we're going to do this exercise is to, I don't want to say stick it to the bulky haters, but we will, because it'll speak to the evolution of this roster. Whether you like Trent Baalke or you can't stand him, you cannot deny this roster is in a much better place than it was 4 years ago. I also think it'll be an interesting exercise on the heels of what Press Taylor said this morning. I asked him, as far as the proposed new timeline for the offseason program, if training camp was to start more towards the end of June and there were no OTAs, what that would be like. And he said it brings him back to the 2020 COVID season, in which obviously there were no OTAs or off-season program because everyone was working from their house and they were sending out workouts to players to do from their houses. And then everybody got to training camp a little bit earlier. And so that, I think, he's talking about with regards to the proposed changes from the NFLPA. I think it's interesting to pair that, though, with this conversation we're going to have to start the 1 o'clock hour, because the Jags had the youngest roster in the league. They had 12 draft picks who all made the roster. They had 4 undrafted free agent rookies who also made the roster. So that is 16 of your 53 players playing their first year in the National Football League. Oh, and there was no offseason program. They just got thrown right into the training camp fire. No preseason games. Week 1 against the Colts, the first time that they actually suited up and played a live period of NFL football.
If your entire rookie class makes the roster easily, you know you're in trouble. So yeah, we will go through that next. And like Mia said, people might want to apologize to Trent Baalke.
And hey, Lauren, if you could just repeat the code for the Stateside Cup tickets. We have some Heeligans that are looking for that code.
Sure, FDS24, again, statesidecup.com. We will compare the rosters when we come back on Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you want to know what it is?
1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
I've got 2 words for you. Incredible inventory. Where? Is this incredible inventory? At the one and only Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Why Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned? So many questions, but thankfully I have the answers. How about over 600 vehicles in stock, one location? That's over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups, over 30 Jeeps, over 50 luxury vehicles on the ground in stock at one location. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18,000. Plus, Arlington's 30-day exchange program is now double. That's now 60 days to decide if you love your purchase or come on back and exchange it for one that you do. Worried about financing? Don't be. Arlington's Credit for Everyone program is here to help you get financed. You even get a complimentary car wash with every scheduled service. Shop Arlington Pre-Owned in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hacker here, and I just got back from a cruise to the Caribbean, and it was incredible. I actually saw a few folks from Jacksonville who recognized me, and did they want to talk sports? Nope. They complimented my weight and how I look so different after dropping 65 pounds with Awaken 180 weight loss. I even had strangers that overheard some of those conversations that started asking me about Awaken 180. I took some fantastic pictures with my family that I would have otherwise avoided because of my weight. If you're overweight, you know what I mean. I knew I was going to go off the program for a bit because, hey, I deserved it. But my Awaken 180 coach had my back. She showed me how to take a break for 9 days and not put all the weight back on. It was easy. I ate all sorts of food, but the difference? I didn't keep going back for seconds and thirds. My body didn't need it. The kicker? I didn't gain a single pound because my metabolism is on fire. If you want a program that works and coaches that understand, do what we all did and go to Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL. Green for life.
What's up? I'm Patrick Young. If you're a business owner, make your plans to attend the Florida SBDC Network Small Business Success Summit, August 19th and 20th at the Sawgrass Marriott in Ponte Vedra. You'll network with other Florida business owners, learn marketing and operational strategies. Plus, I'll deliver an inspirational keynote message. There's also a reverse trade show event where you can speak with government agencies to explore their business partnerships. Register online at floridasbdc.org, and I will see you there.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally, hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss Premier League clubs Wolves and West Ham in Jacksonville for the Stateside Cup, July 27th at Everbank Stadium. Tickets as low as $35 at statesidecup.com.
Hurricane season is here. Protect your property from parking lot floods with Duck Duck Rooter. Our VACCON team specializes in storm drain maintenance, keeping your property safe and secure. Schedule service now, 904-862-6769.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Jaguars top pass rusher Josh Allen has returned to Duval and is ready to tackle new records this season after setting the franchise sack record with 17.5 sacks last year. Allen spoke on his legacy and constantly improving from year to year.
Man, my whole goal as an athlete is to beat my sister. like all the goals, the football achievements is very cool. And I love going home and I love, looking at the trophies and seeing the work that I put in, but that doesn't mean anything until I beat my sister. So when I say legacy, it's deeper than what I do out here.
The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are back at home tonight at 1-1 Financial Ballpark, ready to start their 6-game series against the Indianapolis Indians. First pitch at 7:05. It's 92 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Remind everyone how many wins the Jacksonville Jaguars had in 2020, Mia?
One. And 15,
I was like, I can't even remember.
15 straight losses. That was 4 years ago.
It's easy to remember because that one win led to Trevor Lawrence. And yes, if Trevor Lawrence signs a contract extension while we are on air today, we will let you know. It does seem like it's getting closer and closer just based off of different things we are
Just
hearing.
another thank you, Frank Gore reminder.
That's right. Thank you, Frank Gore. And for some people, after this exercise we're about to do, thank you, Trent Baalke. All right, so we will start with the offense and get into the depth chart. Of course, we will start, naturally, with the wide receivers.
Yes.
DJ Chark was wide receiver 1, wouldn't you say, in 2020?
And he was coming off of a Pro Bowl season.
Yeah.
So
I was pumped on DJ Chark, honestly.
Right. Lest we forget. So DJ's coming off of a Pro Bowl season, and he's entering his third year. He obviously had a connection with Gardner Minshew, who was the Week 1 starting quarterback that season.
Right.
And by all accounts, teaming up with Laviska Shenault, a wide receiver who, as former general manager Dave Caldwell said, the Jags had their eye on his entire career at Colorado. The expectation was you bring in a quote-unquote Debo sort of player, that of course being Deebo Samuel. You pair him with Chark, who's a deep ball threat. You had already brought in the veteran Chris Conley a year prior, ironically, because he was supposed to elevate Nick Foles, and instead he elevated the play of Gardner Minshew. And so now you've got your veteran wide receiver, your emerging wide receiver, potentially one or two, and then you have this Swiss Army knife of sorts.
So in 2020, your quarterback, like you said, Gardner Minshew. Compare that to Trevor Lawrence. I don't think there's much comparison there. And then your receivers, DJ Chark and Chris Conley, Laviska Shenault as well. In comparison now to Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk. I mean, it seems like if we were going to do the stat comparison, the Jaguars would have, I'm going to guess, twice as many yards offensively as they did in 2020.
Yeah, I think that, and it's easy to, I mean, this roster, honestly, was rough in some certain areas. So to me, their only way really was to go up from this. So I want to give credit to Balky. There's certain things I'm critical on, but I feel like if you weren't able to improve from this, we've got some bigger issues. But when you look at the wide receiving room in general, like I said, I was super high on DJ Chark. I thought he was going to continue to be, because you saw this kind of steady increase of what Chark was. He had the 1,000-yard, 8-touchdown season, and then the next year missed games and still had just shy of 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I still had hope for Chark, and those are the wild ones that it's crazy to watch sometimes, because there's certain guys on this roster, and we'll go over defensively, some guys like Miles Jack, who here in Jacksonville, you felt like they were on the up and they were going to be one of the players that you talked about in the league. And then when they go on to their next teams, it kind of just falls apart for them. And so it's so interesting to see how that happens with certain people on the roster.
Another important overarching reason for this conversation. Yes, you can say that the roster was in such shambles after they traded away the likes of Calais Campbell, A.J. Boye, Nick Foles, whatever you want to say, that of course it had to go up from here because that was rock bottom. Well, lest you forget, the Jaguars had 4 picks in the top 65 picks in the 2020 NFL Draft. Of those top 4 picks, C.J. Henderson, Caleb Von Chason, Laviska Shenault, Devon Hamilton, you have one player to show for it. And that's not getting into the remaining 8 draft picks, of which you also have one player, Daniel Thomas, to show for it. Let's move to 2021, Trent Baalke's first draft as the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I understand he was here for basically 2 weeks before the draft as the personnel executive.
Yeah.
That he was here. COVID basically shut the world down like the second week he was in the office. So let's put that out there. In 2021, you had 3 picks in the top, or 5 picks, excuse me, in the top 75 compared to 4 the year prior. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Sure, you can
the
say
number 1 pick. Yeah.
Easiest pick in the world. Sure. Travis Etienne, Tyson Campbell, Walker Little, Andre Sisco. If you are in the camp that you believe that Andre Sisco is a Pro Bowl talent, that you believe Tyson Campbell was just hurt last year and deserves the money, and that Walker Little is a starting caliber left tackle, that means you went 5 for 5 after going 1 for 4 the year prior. You can't just say, well, it's easy. It's not easy. You went 1 for 4 in 2020, and imagine if you had actually gone 4 for 4 that go round.
Yeah. By the way, where are they now as far as the wide receivers are concerned? The 2 starters that I talked about, DJ Chark, he is now with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes.
And Chris Conley still with the 49ers.
Yeah.
But yeah, both on the West Coast. Keelan Cole was here that year too.
Jaguars legend Colin Johnson also.
Yes,
regarded
as a great pick.
The offensive line in 2020 was Cam Robinson, who of course is still here. And then left guard Andrew Norwell, he's now a free agent. Center Brandon Linder, he's now retired. AJ Cann, a free agent, and of course we know Jawan Taylor with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and AJ Cann, was stuck around for one more season, which was a second contract. Went to Houston for a year. I believe he's out of the league right now. So that's two guards that are out of the league. And then of course, like you said, Cam is the one holdover, and Jawan Taylor obviously got paid. And so you compare that to an offensive line now of Cam, Ezra Cleveland, who, while you didn't pay top of the market money, you still paid him. Mitch Morse, who you brought in because your backup now to Mitch Morse is a guy that you drafted, and if anything, your third string center was your backup back then in 2020. Brandon Scherf, as much as, yes, maybe he's in the twilight of his career, all-pro, Pro Bowler in the early goings of his career, and then Anton Harrison, who so many people believe could be a Pro Bowler. And so I look at the offensive line, and I don't believe that was the reason for the struggles necessarily in 2020. But if we want to talk about adding Pro Bowl caliber talent, and I understand Andrew Norwell when he was signed was a quote-unquote Pro Bowl level talent that Dave Caldwell signed heading into the 2018 season. But yeah, I mean, I look at that line, there's flashes.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the line now, and while maybe it doesn't have flashy names like other offensive lines around the league, there's consistency pretty much across the board now.
Yeah, and I think some people would they'd start to argue and say, because when you look at that line, I think most people would choose this line, especially with Mitch Morse right now. But that team had way less pressures and sacks than allowed last season I'm talking about the 2020 team compared to last season, and most of last season's returning outside of Mitch Morse. So how much is he going to factor in and change that line will be a big question for a lot of people, just because some will be like, yeah, it's maybe not the flashy names you want, but the line played pretty decent that season, honestly.
Yeah, and it's a different dynamic, too, because you had Gardner Minshew, who only threw for like 2,300 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So they were way more into running the football because they had James Robinson.
At least they could run.
Right, and he was obviously a star for this team that season. So, yeah, they were focused more on running the football.
Mm-hmm.
And in comparison to last year, Trevor threw for over 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
So you are asking them to, yes, pass block a lot more. All right, the tight end back then, James O'Shaughnessy. He is now a free agent. I would say Evan Ingram 3 times better, if not more.
Yeah. 3 times.
5 times better.
That's no shot at Oshag,
Yeah.
who, I mean, I believe has a career in media if he wants to, once he hangs it up, if he hasn't already. But lest we forget, he suffered multiple injuries in the 2020 and 2021 season. And if memory serves me, Taylor, outside of, signing with your Chicago Bears, and I'm going to double check it here, he never actually played in another NFL game after playing in 7 games in 21 here in Jacksonville. And I think that's a common theme that we'll see as we go through this roster.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Even the players that were good here are not on starting rosters or any roster right now. And
that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing is like
That's
we're
the
gonna
takeaway.
We're gonna go through this 2020 roster, and it will astound you. It will astound you what a ragtag bunch it was, and it also speaks to again the churning of that bottom third of the roster for way too long in this town, because when the players got hurt, of which we've already named a few who got hurt during the 2020 season, you were literally having to sign guys and then start them the next week.
Yeah.
Which is never good.
No.
So we talked about the running game. James Robinson, he is still playing. He's with the Saints now. And then we still had a fullback back then. If you had asked me to name the fullback that was on the starting depth chart, I would not have gotten it. Bruce Miller.
That was a bulky influence signing.
I would never have gotten that name.
He didn't really play all that much.
No, he didn't.
But at the same time.
And he's retired
Yeah,
now.
and it was a mid-season signing, and that was a bulky influence. James Robinson, of course, had as impressive a rookie campaign as we've seen from an undrafted free agent. Again, when we talk about the sustainability of Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen playing 85% of the snaps at outside linebacker, James Robinson toted the ball 90% of the 2020 Jacksonville Jaguars carries for 1,070 yards and didn't even play in all 16 games.
Yeah.
And you could certainly make the argument that being the bell cow he was at Illinois State, the bell cow he was his first year and a half here in Jacksonville, did that factor into the injuries he suffered in year 2 and subsequently in his career? You could make that argument. But if there's one gem that you would take away from this roster, which also we're completely neglecting to mention that Leonard Fournette was cut on August 31st. Hello. That was also a storyline that at 6 a.m. or something crazy like that. Again, it just speaks to the instability that there was heading into the season, let alone throughout the duration of a 15-game losing streak.
Here are some of the backups. Will Richardson Jr. was the backup swing tackle. I'm going to say that Walker Little is better than Will Richardson. Ben Barch was here. Certainly had high hopes for him.
Coming from D3 football, so you knew it would take a little bit.
Yeah, and I would say Cooper Hodges, people are just as high on him as they were on Ben Barch back then. Certainly if he can stay healthy. Tyler Eifert was your backup tight end or your second tight end. And then your backup quarterback, Jake Luton, which Jake Luton was a fine backup, but certainly Mac Jones / CJ Beathard better backups. Running back backup, Devin Ozigbo, I'm going to say Tank Bigsby is better than him.
Divina Zigbo, man, what a throwback.
So, yeah. Then we have the 2020 Jaguars defensive depth chart.
This is where it gets just
Crazy.
wild, folks.
This is where, yes, I'll start with the two guys that are still here from this as far as the starting depth chart. Josh Allen and Adam Gotsis.
Which Josh Allen was hurt most of the year, only played in 7 of 16 games, 2.5 sacks. If anything, I don't want to ever wish injury upon anyone, but I'm kind of glad Josh got hurt and didn't have to potentially, get hurt even more or just more toll on the body.
Yeah. Like ETN in his actual rookie season,
Right.
which was Urban Meyer's only season,
Right.
sort
Yeah.
of half season, whatever. He didn't have to experience the trials and tribulations of that season because he was injured
even
as well.
We were talking about James Robinson. A lot of people point directly to the downfall of his career because of Urban Meyer and how he handled him that season in 2021.
Yeah, I think his was more medical. It's what
Injuries
it
plagued,
seems
but it was 18 carries for the next week, and then he mishandled James Robinson so badly. The running game in general, for whatever he loved, Carlos Hyde. That was just such a weird
Sorry,
year.
Buckeyes. Yeah, we're not Rolling Reach Plumbing, although we do love Rolling Reach Plumbing. We won't make any digs at Ohio State. To your point, Lauren, of the only other member of that defense, which is a scary thought, the only other member of that defense that is still on the Jaguars roster, Adam Gotsis, was signed midway through the month of August. Late season acquisition, you have him playing the big end. Where would you put him on the Jaguars depth chart as it currently stands? I mean, is he on your projected 53 as of June 11th?
Yeah, I think that's a good question.
That speaks to the depth of what this team has become.
He could make the roster, certainly, and they know what they're getting in him, and certainly every time his number is called, Aussie, oi, 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 by the way, every time his number is called, he goes out, and I've never once watched him take snaps and be like, oh, there's a giant drop-off when Gotsis goes in the game. I think he actually is pretty productive. But I don't know that he necessarily makes this roster because of the guys that they just drafted.
Let's say they keep 10 defensive linemen, right? Because we're including outside linebackers, defensive ends, we're including him here, right? Josh Allen's making the team. Trayvon Walker's making the team. Eric Armstead's making the team. Devon Hamilton's making the team. I'm going to throw you some other names because that leaves 6 spots.
Roy Robertson
Harris. Mason Smith making the team. I'm going to just making
Mason
the team.
Smith is definitely.
Jordan Jefferson's making the team.
Yep.
So now we got 4. So we got Roy, Tyler Lacey, Miles Cole. Then you've got Jeremiah Ledbetter, who gave you some significant minutes a year ago. Adam Gotsis, Deshaun Dixon, Trevis Gibson. And then it depends on what position you believe Yasir Abdullah plays. That's for 3 spots.
Yeah, I would say Abdullah probably less defensive line now, more linebackers, so you could take him out of that. But I think Trevis Gibson makes the team.
Yeah. So now you got 2.
Right, and so it's a huge battle there for those last 2 spots. And look, Gotsis might be a guy that ends up on the practice squad, and then, like I said, when his number's called, I feel like he normally goes in and plays fairly well. So it's a guy that they have experience with, which is good if you end up having him on the practice squad.
And I think that's going to be a trend we're going to see across the league, but including here in Jacksonville, where you try to get a vested veteran, you release them. They're not subject to waivers like Adam Gotsis would be, like Blake Hance would be on the offensive line, and then you sign them to the practice squad a day later. Of course, they would have the option to go sign with another team's active roster if they were to, have that opportunity. I mean, it's been thrown around. There's an opportunity there if Mac Jones proves that he gives you the best chance to play and win games. Heaven forbid Trevor is to be hurt. Could you see CJ Beathard, because of the numbers game, be one of those vested veterans who you put on the practice squad where in a moment's notice you could bring him up for a game if you needed an extra backup or a third quarterback, but he then doesn't count against the 53-man roster. And I think you could say the same for a Gotsis.
Didn't they do that with Gotsis last year?
2 years ago they did it, but that was because they had to place players on reserve injured for the rest of the year.
All right, getting to defensive tackle. So, like we said, both of those guys are still here. I guess you could say Adam Gotsis starting, then you would compare him to Trayvon Walker, and I'm going to say Trayvon is certainly better than Gotsis, but he's been a good role player here. All right, defensive tackles. You had Abry Jones and Taven Bryan. Abry Jones, most people know, is retired. Once played at Georgia, and then Taven Bryan played at Florida. He is still playing. He is with the Colts. But yeah, how would you compare those guys we just ran through as far as defensive tackles to those two guys?
Colts are what? Third team, Taylor? Second team?
Who? Taven?
Taven.
Yeah. Jaguars, Browns, Colts, at least 3.
Yeah. Okay. So rotational guy.
That one worked well.
Yeah, that worked out really well. Also, you're forgetting Jaguars legend, Lauren, one of those 16 rookies who made the 53-man roster opening day, Doug Costin, who never played in another NFL game after appearing in one game for the 2021 Jacksonville Jaguars. And next, unless Avery Jones is your starter, depending on what depth chart you look at, that's who you were trotting out.
Yeah.
That rotation of Taven Bryan, Avery, who was in the final year of his career, and Doug Costin.
Yeah, and that's what, as I was going through this, I was like, it's honestly just wild to see, because we just mentioned this, and so obviously Miles Jack played for Pittsburgh a little bit last season, but since he left Jacksonville, he almost disappeared. And when you go through this, it's like someone retired, Taven Bryan on his third team, Adam Gotts is just kind of still,
hanging around, very well could be cut this year.
Yeah, Miles Jack, who again had just kind of fallen off. I don't even know where Joe Schobert is. Did he retire?
He last played in 2022.
Okay,
but
so
he bounced around. He joined the fraternity, him and Chris Conley, of having played for almost every team in the AFC South.
Yes. We'll obviously get to him, but Herndon, I just saw today, is having a practice with the Giants, so he's nowhere right now.
Yeah,
CJ Henderson, we've seen how that one's gone.
He's with the Texans.
And these are the starters.
Yeah, CJ Henderson now at the Texans.
Yeah.
You had Joe Schobert, so we'll compare him to Foye Oluokun. Schobert was the middle linebacker. He last played in 2022, like I said. You'll take Foye Oluokun.
Every day.
Yeah.
1,000 times over.
Every single
And it's
time.
funny because...
And we were excited about Joe Schobert then.
I do remember it being a whole lot of hype about
and
Joe
he had
Schobert.
a lot of interceptions, not a lot, but I think he led the team in interceptions that season.
They paid him good money, and he was productive in Cleveland. He was, if anything, that was the crown jewel of that free agent signing class, because unfortunately you had multiple players who then opted out because of the COVID season, or in the case of Rodney Gunter, he had a heart defect, and so he ultimately had to medically retire. And so I think it was like you signed 6 or 7 free agents in the initial wave, and like 3 or 4 of them
actually made it.
Never actually played it down for the Jaguars, so it's like, well, nothing you can really do there. But to the cornerback room.
By the way, Leon Jacobs, the other linebacker. Miles Jack is a free agent. Leon Jacobs, I'm assuming he retired because he hasn't played since he played that 2020 season.
He got hurt the Thursday night game, which, listen, flowers to Leon Jacobs. A productive 7th-round pick for what it was worth for the 3-4 years he played.
But yeah, the cornerback room. Trey Herndon, free agent. Jared Wilson, free agent who last played in 2021. Josh Jones, a free agent who last played in 2022. And CJ Henderson, who is still playing now with the Texans.
Okay, the cornerbacks. So that's safeties included. That's defensive backs. Let the cornerbacks. Your cornerback room, Jacksonville, in 2020 was CJ Henderson, Trey Herndon, Luke Barku, who, yes, you gave top-of-the-line undrafted free agent rookie money to, but a rookie, and Chris Claybrooks, who had only played the cornerback position for all of maybe 2 seasons at Memphis. And in game 1, he was thrust into action because, yes, Sidney Jones, I guess, was also kind of on the roster, only appeared in, 6 games, 3 games, something like that. Chris Claybrooks was thrust into action week 1, that win over the Indianapolis Colts, having barely played the cornerback position in college, let alone in the NFL. That is the shape that room was in.
Yeah. And he now, I looked it up earlier, I'm going to have to look up again, he is now a free agent also, Chris Claybrooks. So several players from that starting rotation either haven't played in multiple years, are retired, or are on their 3rd or 4th team at this point in time. Because, Taven Bryan, it's his 3rd team, and CJ Henderson, it's his 3rd team. So basically that entire defense outside of Josh Allen, Adam Gotsis, and a backup in Daniel Thomas are almost basically not in the league anymore.
Also, we forgot Dewey. Dewey did play a little bit, on defense, too, to start the season. And it was mostly, 3 safety looks, because Josh Jones and Jared Wilson were definitely the starters, but neither of them actually made it a full season. And, yes, you can argue a lot of that was because of COVID and the various illnesses, injuries that occurred during the season, as they do every season, but then you couple that with tracing and God, I don't miss any of that. Remember contact tracing? That was awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dewey was here too. So I guess we can include Dewey as well.
And
of course,
Devon Hamilton was drafted that year too.
Yes, and Devon Hamilton really was your nose tackle. Thank you for reminding us, Taylor, because he's not listed on the depth chart, but he ended up becoming a pretty big bright spot for you. And so as much as we were bashing the Doug Costin, Taven Bryan, Avery Jones experience,
Devon was there.
You did get Devon out of it, so not a complete wash. And so yes, technically not a starter that year, but I would argue you have You have 3 players, and DT and Dewey, so 5 if you want to include your 2 special team, your core 4
and
guys.
special teams, the Jaguars have done great because, of course, Logan Cook and Ross Matisic are still here. Those other 2, like you mentioned, Dewey and DT, they're special teamers, so those all worked out well. Here are some of the names on as far as the backups are concerned.
We forgot Caleb on, by the way.
That was to say, Caleb on, Chason, Timmy Jernigan, Dwan Smoot, who ended up being pretty good.
Yeah.
Dakota Allen, Shaq Quarterman, Cassius Marsh, DJ Hayden, Luke Barku.
DJ Hayden was technically a starter too, and God rest his soul, a great guy in the locker room, but he didn't play a full season either because he was banged up.
Yeah, I liked Cassius, but he was definitely and has always kind of been the rotational guy.
Right, just a guy.
Yeah.
Can you repeat off the top, Lauren, a couple of those names off the top on the defensive side of the ball, the backups?
Timmy Jernigan.
Timmy Jernigan, yes, that's what I was going to say. Timmy Jernigan shows up by way of Lake City and Florida State, of course, a Super Bowl champion with Doug Peterson and the Eagles, ironically enough. He rolls into training camp in mid-August, and I remember as a media member, we were like, oh, we've been saved. We have Timmy Jernigan now. We're going to have interior pass rush. Thank you, Timmy Jernigan.
And Joe Schobert.
And then Dave cuts him and then Dave cuts him week 2 or week 3, and I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? What are we doing?
That's when we were trying to just find anything positive possible at that point in time. Like, anytime there was a signing and it was a name you kind of heard of, people were like, oh, I've heard of him before.
And thank you to Robert on the text line designed by, or not text line, sorry, the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line for reminding me I missed a cornerback. Josiah Scott, who was inactive for almost his entire rookie year and then was promptly traded before ever suiting up for the Urban Meyer Jaguars in 2021.
Which he's probably thankful for that one.
Yeah, so I think the exercise proved that Trim Baalke has completely overhauled this roster, and there's way more talent now heading into the 2024 season. We know there's more talent because 2 years ago, the Jaguars made the playoffs. Last season came very close, just short. And I will argue
Which
that...
is much better than one win.
Absolutely. I would argue that if the Jaguars had either Mitch Morse or Eric Armstead, either one of those 2 players a season ago, the Jaguars would have made the playoffs. Just one of those 2 guys on either the offensive line or the defensive line, respectively, Jaguars make the playoffs, and we are having a different conversation more about what happened in the playoffs and where the Jaguars came up short. Because I don't think, spoiler alert, that they were winning the Super Bowl last year. But certainly they would have at least, like I said, made it to the playoffs. All right, Joe Cowart caught up with cornerback Jarian Jones after mandatory minicamp yesterday. Jarian told Joe something that I had not heard before. I want to see if y'all had heard that regarding FSU last season. So keep it right here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Your home for the best Jags coverage.
We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio, and 92.5 FM.
Mia here. The NBA playoffs are heating up, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide. Cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays. And new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
If you've played sports or still lead an active life, chances are joint pain is nothing new. This is Dr. George Barry of Barry Orthopedics, and we like to be your option when it comes to taking care of your body and getting back in the game. From shoulders to elbows to hip and knee pain, Barry Orthopedics can diagnose and treat a variety of injuries that are causing you pain. We are Barry Orthopedics and online at barryorthopedics.com. With more than 30 years of experience, our team is here to care for your entire family.
Find out more at barryorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
A tomahawk steak is more than a meal, it's an experience. Dads, we've got you covered at Southern Steer Butcher. Now through Father's Day, get your tomahawk steaks for $24.99 a pound.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Anderson, where we deliver custom-designed energy savings windows and doors. Did you know our unique Fibrix material combines elegance and resilience, offering double the strength of traditional vinyl? Now through June, buy one window or patio door and receive 40% off, plus 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Restrictions apply. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details. License number CGC 1527613.
Denny Thompson here. Tackle burglars and protect your turf. Give yourself peace of mind catching everything around your home with Tyson Sound & Security's cutting-edge surveillance cameras. For safety and convenience, Tyson has you covered for all home cameras and security systems. I'm talking HD recording, night vision, and remote alerts, all from your phone or computer. Call Tyson Sound & Security right now at 904-762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security. Security and automation experts.
Cataracts are the leading cause of vision loss in the United States and blindness worldwide. Hicken here for Bowdnine Associates. June is Cataract Awareness Month. Cataracts are a condition that causes the eye's lens to become cloudy, which can block or change the way light passes through the eye. Bowdnine is here to take care of you or someone you know who are experiencing faded colors, intensified brightness to light, or poor night vision. Call or visit Bowdnine.com to schedule your consultation. Bowdnine Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
I've known Glenn Cohen for a long time as a friend and a lawyer. Persistent and fair, Glenn and his firm have represented clients from North Florida and South Georgia for over 40 years in all kinds of personal injury cases. If I had such a case, call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us. But for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks. What I do know is I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners. Always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Lauren Brooks here for Hodges Mazda. Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. That's why the sales staff doesn't work on commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. Whether you're looking for a brand new Mazda or a pre-owned vehicle, Hodges Mazda has a large selection to help you choose from. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years free maintenance and free car washes for life. Now that is peace of mind. So visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I've got some exciting news from Leonard Truck Outfitters and their new location on Beach Boulevard. Stocking brands like Real Truck, UWS, WeatherGuard, Carry-On Trailers, and much more. Grand opening celebration June 28th, starting at noon with tons of special promotions and giveaways like a brand new golf cart.
Are you looking for that perfect Father's Day gift? Look no further than Shooters this Thursday through Sunday, June 13th through the 16th. Shooters and Smith & Wesson are bringing you the largest Smith & Wesson sale of the year with the largest savings of the year. Click away with a Smith & Wesson M&P 1522, very affordable, just $429. Save $70. The most popular small frame defense revolver on the market, the Airweight 38 Special, for only $469. Save $70. The hottest selling concealed carry pistol, the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus 9mm, for only $399. You save $150. Get unmatched value with the new Smith & Wesson SD9 2.0 handgun for a low $279. Save $80. Shooters and Smith & Wesson Father's Day sale, the largest sale of the year, June 13th through the 16th at Shooters, 5085 University Boulevard West. See the full ad at shootersjacks.com. ShootersJacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Taylor, Dalmio, Brian, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Former FSU cornerback, now Jacksonville Jaguar cornerback, Jarian Jones. He took a few minutes out of his day yesterday to catch up with Joe Cowart, and he was apparently very nice as well to you, Mia, as far as setting up the camera. Well, this answer that he had when Joe asked him about Jordan Travis and his injury last season, he shares something in here that I had never heard. I want everyone to listen to this, and then y'all tell me if you heard this part of the Jordan Travis recovery from last year.
Not even as a teammate, as a brother. You know, I know what he's went through. You know, I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows, and just to see him in that moment, and he had his head high through the entire moment. Like, he didn't look low, like he didn't get in his feelings about it or nothing. Like, he attacked it, and he just made the best with his situation. So, just seeing him do that, that left us in a better spirit to be able to continue on with the season. He was there, he was in the building. Like, I don't know if people knew this, but like, he held off on his surgery a little bit just so he could be there with us. So, like, when you look at a leader, like, there's no such thing. It doesn't get better than that. So that was instrumental. So as a brother, that hurted me to see him like that, but just to see his mindset, like, it meant the world to me.
He held off on his surgery, Jordan Travis, so that he could be with the team. Did that break some news to anyone else or just me?
I didn't know that, but I have only heard great things about Jordan Travis and the type of person he is. And we talk a lot about, Florida State and kind of the turnaround and what Mike Norvell's been able to do on the football field also, but it's underrated factor of how even the character of guys has changed that he's brought into Florida State too. Like Florida State, the Jameis Winston time, so many unlikable people on that roster, whether it's just they were getting in trouble or they were kind of ran their mouth too much and people didn't like that factor of it, whatever it was. And now we're talking about like Jordan Travis, obviously Jarian Jones, Keon Coleman, Jared Verse, all these guys you hear incredible things about in their personalities and their character and their leadership. So props to him for being able to change this roster.
I mean, let's go back to 2020 again, take another trip down memory lane, but to Tallahassee. In 2020, Jordan Travis not only was like the third or fourth string quarterback for Mike Norvell's first Knowles team, people thought he may end up converting to wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. I always thought, by the way, that those people were absolutely ridiculous. Like, I always thought Jordan Travis, just give him reps in practice with the starters, the ones, and he will be a good quarterback. And I know that was an unpopular opinion at the time because, yes, people didn't think that he had what it took to be a really good quarterback in college football. But if you watched him, it was like, yes, he's on the smaller side, and he doesn't have necessarily the largest arm, but he knows where to go with the football. And that's one thing that, as we watched him learn and develop and grow, he proved.
And that's where whether it's Kenny Dillingham, now the head coach at Arizona State, who was the offense coordinator then at Florida State, or any, Alex, the offense coordinator, Atkins, the offense coordinator now, like they deserve a lot of credit because there were signs there with Jordan Travis that he could develop into a quarterback, but there were question marks because of the arm strength, because of perhaps not being a traditional pocket passer. And I think that, to your point, Lauren, I think the intangibles and the leadership qualities ultimately won out when it came to Jordan Travis, and just the sheer competitive fire that lives within him, that he was going to find a way to become the starting quarterback at Florida State and will them into an undefeated season like he did his final year. Unfortunately, obviously, it didn't end the way everyone wanted it to. I think there were some reports out there, if memory serves me, that he was holding off. I think a lot of it also had to do with the swelling, that they really, it was such a significant leg injury that, he had to wait for the swelling to kind of go down. But yeah, it speaks to his character, and as someone on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, it's why we call you our Heeligans, just joked.
He held out while the team held out on him.
Yes, he held out for his teammates, and his teammates held out too. And it is unfortunate.
I know.
It is unfortunate that he held off on surgery because he wanted to be there. And yes, when it came to the Orange Bowl, more than one player opted out of that game.
And I didn't know if they were talking about they held out of the game or the committee held them out.
Oh, that's true too. That's also that.
And that's the thing where, like, that is incredibly devastating for everyone, from the fans of FSU, obviously for the players and the coaches, the athletic department as a whole, the university. FSU earned its opportunity to make it to the college football playoff. FSU won its regular season games. FSU won the ACC championship, albeit it wasn't necessarily all that pretty against Florida. And then the ACC championship because of Travis's injury, but they still earned their way in. So here is Jarian Jones and his reaction to FSU being left out of the playoff last season.
That was probably one of the most heartbreaking moments like I've ever experienced in my life, because that was one of those moments where from that January when we came back from playing Oklahoma all the way up to that moment, like, we've put the work in. And you can't pinpoint anything during the season, but, like, that's why they didn't get in, because the name of the game is to win, and we won against anybody that was put in front of us, so, like, it was one of those moments where it was like, what else could we have done, so it was, I don't really, like, it hurt me bad, but I always think about it like this, like, we put that in the hands of, like, some guys watching the game in a hotel room to decide who's going to be in the playoffs, like, what are we doing? Like, what do we, did they even play football? That don't even make sense. So, it was just one of those situations that's controls you can control.
Walking soundbite.
Absolutely. If Florida State had beaten Louisville by a larger margin and had it looked, quote unquote, prettier, I think the playoff committee has to vote FSU in. But because they barely beat Florida 24-15, and we all know Florida was a mess at that point in the season, and because FSU beat Louisville 16-6, I think that it was the style points that the committee didn't have.
It was the Jordan Travis point. It was the style points because there was no Jordan Travis.
Right, but if they had been able,
because they weren't winning,
to still be dominant in those two games, if Florida hadn't had a lead on FSU to end the regular season and then had the ACC championship game, had the Noles been a team that put up 30 on Louisville, which was a pretty hot team going into that game, I think the committee would have, even with the injury, I still think they would have had to vote FSU in.
Now, see, I maybe it's the ACC bias. I still think there would have been some sort of excuse. And it's unfortunate because if you go 13-0 and you are a Power 5 institution, I agree with Jari. And, like, what else are you supposed to do? Yeah. You won all the games that were in front of you. They did what they were expected to do. And what was the upper echelon of the sport? Very few teams have ever completed an undefeated regular season, let alone also won a conference title, one of those quote-unquote Power 5 conference titles. But I just think, for whatever the reason, the committee, those people in a hotel room, they not that they had it out for Florida State, but I think that it was, they're not going to be the same team without Jordan Travis. And yes, to your point,
which was their argument, and they said, like, in the rule books of the voting, it says injury can lead to a decision of who doesn't make the college football playoff, and that's why we're
so also the people in the hotel room were following the rules at the very least.
But
that's
why
they came up with
injury. If that causes you to lose, is how I think it should be interpreted.
And I agree with that. But I think for them, they said that injury affected the product on the football team, and it was a little clear. Like, I think Florida State should have still got in, but I think their reasonings came beyond that, and I think that's why so many people now are also excited when we talk about the college football expansion, because Florida State would have been in.
Right. Correct.
And then
Georgia would have been in for you dog fans out there, because you could make the argument that if Georgia had been one of the quote-unquote 4 best teams, there's a good chance they ran the table, and they would have won the 4-team college football playoff back in January.
And that's what the college football playoff committee did to us, is they had us then watch the Orange Bowl of Georgia versus Florida State, one team in Georgia that could have won the national championship. FSU at that point in time, a team that was broken and battered and upset still, of course. And
also had lots of guys, because they were seniors or super seniors, obviously opted out of a game.
Or juniors about to head to the NFL draft.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Opted out of a game that bared really no merit towards them or their university. And look, I want to tell you that bowl games still matter, even those, the Gator Bowl matters. Of course the Gator Bowl matters, folks. I would like to tell you that the New Year's Six Bowls still matter, but they don't. If they're not the playoff for these guys who are on the verge of making millions of dollars, they are going to say that outweighs playing for school pride and playing for a trophy that at the end of the day doesn't bear as much weight as that college football playoff trophy.
Do you also think that any of them, it was a little bit of a retaliation? Like, you didn't put us in, so we're not going to give you a product
100%.
Worth it?
Yeah. Well, and again, why would I get injured in a
why would I
game
risk
that,
myself?
That isn't going to lead to a national championship.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Florida State and Georgia, sorry to cut you off, Lauren, I think that's where it just so happened these two rosters were in very different places. That was a senior-laden Florida State team. Georgia has its quarterback. Well, at the time, we didn't know if he'd be coming back, but obviously now Carson Beck has made the decision to come back. And while they certainly had opt-outs, they did not have opt-outs to the extent of that senior-laden Noles team. And so that's, I think, part of the reason. If the roles were reversed and Georgia, I mean, granted, onboarding at Georgia, very, very well done, Kirby and company. So I think they would have had the next guy ready, and not that Mike Norvell didn't, but the cupboard was just literally bare. Who was he supposed to trot out there? Because they had the same group of veteran guys who were playing the majority of the snaps, and now they're suddenly unavailable.
Yeah, and when the game doesn't matter at that point in time, of course, you're furious with college football in general. You don't want to go then put yourself at risk and also play a team that you realize going into it is going to trounce you because you don't have your quarterback in Jordan Travis.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Keep your quarter panel clean with 1010XL.
Missed it by that much.
Wow. Sunday, Iowa Speedway. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on Jacksonville's NASCAR station. 1010XL.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hacker here, and I just got back from a 9-day cruise to the Caribbean. Now, I knew I was going to slip off my Awaken 180 program because, hey, I deserve it. I've lost 65 pounds so far. But guess what? My Awaken 180 coach even suggested it and helped me cheat. She showed me how to take a break for 9 days and not put any of the weight back on. I ate all sorts of foods, from fried green tomatoes to frog legs, but the shocking part, I didn't keep going back up for seconds, thirds, or fourths. My body didn't need it, and I really didn't want it. Did I lose weight on vacation? No, I was on a break. But did I gain 10 pounds? No, sir. I didn't gain a single pound because my metabolism is on fire. My body's just doing its thing. If you want a program that works, want coaches that understand real life, do what we all did and call Awaken 180. They've got your back while keeping your front from popping. 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
The moment you've been waiting for has arrived. The Poker Atlas Tour is blazing its way through Best Bet St. Augustine now through June 16th. Get in on the action with 7 poker events, highlighted by the $600 No Limit Hold'em title event, boasting a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. You can also dive into our $300 event 1 with a $100,000 guarantee. Join us at Best Bet St. Augustine for the Poker Atlas Tour now through June 16th. Head to bestbetjax.com for details. That's bestbetjax.com.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Golf takes center stage at Hidden Hills Golf Club, but we have a little bit of something for everyone. So whether you want to practice, play, or just relax with friends in the Hills Grill, Hidden Hills is a place for you. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home this week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Indianapolis in town starting tonight. Tomorrow is Buy Star Goodness Everywhere Wednesday, featuring Catholic charities, and Bring Your Dog courtesy of Forever Vets. Get the weekend started with Coors Light Thirsty Thursday Pride Night, and we'll have fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets.
I9 Sports is fired up for their summer flag football tournament series, so make sure your team is part of the action. It's all happening in June and July at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows at their brand new turf facility. Register as a team and join the fun at i9sports.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Hey folks, it's Mike Dempsey for Pella Windows and Doors. Now, you probably heard me mention that errant golf ball that led us to replace our windows. And obviously, if I'm investing in my home's appearance and comfort, I want the best. Well, now my new Pella windows are installed and they look fantastic. And we've already noticed a difference in outside noise reduction and energy savings. So if you need to replace your windows or doors, visit my friends at the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway or check them out online at PellaJacks.com. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
I'd like to pair one of our first topics with our last topic on today's edition of Helmets and Heels, which is the play of Jaguars third-rounder Jarian Jones. In discussing the cornerback room depth, not of 2020, we did do that on today's program. In case you missed it on demand, you could go back and listen. But of the 2024 Jaguars cornerback room depth, the question of will he play outside, will he play inside in the slots? Because, of course, his best season at Florida State, he was the nickel corner. When you go back, though, and you look at that roster around him in 2020, kind of like the Jaguars 2020 roster, not exactly much to cry home about. He had 11 tackles. Or 18 total tackles, no interceptions, one pass defended. You saw a slow growth from that first Knowles team he was a part of in 2020 to 2023. And even if, yes, that climactic final season, he was predominantly inside, I mean, to see a 2022 team in which the Knowles won 9 games, right? 9 games. They had the 3-game losing streak in there. 19 total tackles, 1 pick, 4 passes defended, the most he had in his career. That says to me that there may be something there outside, even if, by all accounts, he probably ends up starting inside should Ronald Darby win that outside corner position opposite Tyson Campbell.
Yeah, my takeaway from today is a little less serious, and it's that the kit. I learned that here today, which is
got kitted up.
I got kitted up with some Wolves gear, which is fun. I like hearing those different terms, and it just shows because we're so obviously we watch a whole lot of football and talk a whole lot of football, and I always if I have friends that don't. And I'll say certain terms, and they don't know what it means. I'm like, how do you not know what that means? And then days like today happen where I'm like, if you don't follow it, you really don't know those words. And then obviously in the NHL, they'll say sweaters a lot of times, which people for their jerseys, a sweater rather than a jersey. So yeah, just different learning a little bit more about a sport that I haven't followed a ton.
I like it, and I learned that Jordan Travis held off his surgery after his serious lower leg injury that he suffered against North Alabama. And I had no idea that that's even an option for a player, that you can decide to wait to have surgery so that you can be with your team as they finish the regular season. One quick note as far as the Jumbo Shrimp, they went 4-2 up in Charlotte last week, and they are back at home tonight for a 6-game series against the Indianapolis Indians. First pitch 7:05. You know who the Indians affiliate is? They are the AAA affiliate of this team. Do we know? The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh, yes, I did know that.
So I wonder if Mr. Frangie will be attending any of those games. Again, the 6-game series begins tonight. First pitch 7:05. And we didn't get to this today, and nor is it a topic, but just wanted to mention it. There will be 2 Jaguars preseason games on NFL Network. Saturday, August 10th against the Chiefs. That one kicks off at 7 p.m. That's the one here in Jacksonville. And then Friday, August 23rd, when the Jaguars are up in Atlanta against the Falcons, 7 p.m. So make sure you have NFL Network, all you Jaguars fans. That will be an important channel to have come August.
Or, you could just listen over the airwaves of 1010XL, and Frank Frangie, the aforementioned, will provide you with beautiful commentary that'll paint the picture in your mind. and of course, Tony Baselli and Jeff Lageman and Bucky Brooks as well. And if all else fails, I believe the game will also be locally broadcast on CBS.
Probably. I know for a while NFL Network and AT&T were having a spat, and so there was quite some time that I did not get NFL Network on my through my cable television. But that has been rectified, so that is good news. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is coming up next. And just a reminder, StatesideCup.com is where you get those tickets. The flash sale code is FDS24 for Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.